What's up, my friends? This is Dante coming to you live with a new 1 minute or less for the up-and-coming bout this Saturday, November 22nd, with Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. All right, so for everybody that is interested in this fight, man, look, Devin Haney has a lot to prove in this fight. He is stepping up to the 147-pound division for the first time, going up against the champion, which is Brian Norman Jr. Brian Norman Jr. is known for having a lot of power in both hands. He's a very aggressive fighter. He's very smart. His timing is immaculate, and he can take a punch. He doesn't move his head a lot, but he has some little work that he can be able to improve on, and most likely, hopefully, he did it going into this fight, and his training camp worked on that, because Devin Haney is a super skillful fighter. Devin, I think, in order to win this fight, he's going to have to be able to move around and not be, in the same spot for too long, because Brian Norman Jr. is going to come and he's going to potentially heat seek after Devin. And if Devin doesn't move, he's going to have a lot of trouble. So if he tries to stay in there and try to mix it up with Brian, I think he's going to try to, but I think Brian is going to end up trying to break Devin down a lot. And if he can catch him, he's going to try to be able to fight Devin on the inside as much as possible, because that's where it feels like Brian Norman does his best work, on the inside. For Devin, he has to stay on the outside and use the ring and box and jab and try not to get hit in order for him to try to be able to edge a win out of this fight against Brian Norman Jr. Now, there's a thing in boxing that says you have to beat the champ. So Devin's last performance was really poor. The one that he had in Madison, it wasn't Madison Square Garden, it was Times Square. And he did a lot of movement. And it was just like too much movement, to the point where it wasn't like he wasn't setting up his jab even, it felt like at times. He just was kind of just wanting to move and move and move. And it was a bad look for him, a very bad performance on his part. So I think perhaps this fight, he's going to have to come in and be very much more aggressive, but do it very smartly, potentially like how he fought Lomachenko, and try to be able to actually really put a lot of combinations together and try to counterpunch Brian Norman as much as possible on his way in, because Brian Norman's going to come and he can punch with both hands. So he's going to be a legitimate threat, and he's the champion coming. And he wants to actually stop Devin, I'm sure. And I'm sure Devin wants to stop him, I'm sure. So it's going to be a very interesting back and forth. I'm going to give the edge to Devin just because I feel like he's going to have to move. And if he goes into this boxing match knowing that he has to move and stay on the outside, he's going to win. If this fight happens to be on the inside, I'm thinking that Brian Norman's going to win, because it's just going to be an onslaught of punishment, just consistently. But I think Devin's going to not stand there and allow for himself to get, hit endlessly by Brian Norman, especially from that power that he has. So it's going to be an interesting bout, but I think Devin's going to edge it out by a unanimous decision or a majority decision, and we'll see what happens Saturday, November 22nd, on the DAZN Network. And check it out. So y'all can subscribe to the channel. We on Dante's Boxing Gym. We on TikTok too. We on YouTube, Instagram. Y'all can check us out there. And I see y'all in the streets. Peace.